Again, as I've mentioned, we finished lesson one and we had a beautiful presentation at the end, which mostly focused on you guys discussing with me or having a dialogue yourselves. It was beautiful. All of you did great. I was actually surprised to see how both your accent and the wording itself of the questions has gotten already much better from the first time I've been able to hear you guys. I can see improvement, but of course we will work on that even more, inshallah, to make sure that it even gets better. I didn't want to stray away from something that we've already seen, which is why I felt like socializing lesson two is going to be a good idea to keep going through. I can, of course, include more vocabulary within the sessions themselves. And of course, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if I said this to this group as well, but if you guys all agree on presentations or giving you guys ideas on how to do presentations in English, we can start doing that as well. Not this week, but starting from next week, inshallah.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
good
Maria?
idea. It's a
Very
good
good,
idea.
very good.
Yeah.
Inshallah,
Yes.
and it will help us all have a broader or a deeper understanding of the professional environment and the use of English. So, not to stray away, but this time we'll also be focusing on socializing, but specifically we'll be learning how to use something called intensifiers and also adverbs while providing emphasis. And at the end of the lesson, inshallah, these are the stuff that you should be able to do. You will be able to use basic intensifiers. Of course, you don't know them yet. I will explain them to you, but you will be able to use them and then to share your opinion on communicating, inshallah. Very good. And this one is a short lesson, which means we can finish it in not so long. But starting with the first thing, which is keeping in touch. So if you remember, we started with something that was general, which is meeting people for the first time. And of course, after meeting for the first time, the thing that comes next is keeping in touch. Keeping in touch refers to our ability to stay connected with our friends. There are many ways to communicate with people. And in all of these ways, I would like to ask you guys first, what are some of the ways that you feel or you think is the best way to keep in touch with your friends? Let me start with Miriam. Miriam?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So it's when we have something in common, an activity, for example, doing
Mm-hmm.
something together.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So doing that activity together is going to help you stay in touch.
Um, it we gonna have a
Mhm.
sometimes a deep communication, knowing each other, being
Mm-hmm.
more close
Mm-hmm.
to each other, and so keeping in touch that's mean to have more communication, knowing
Mm-hmm.
the other person more, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but you need to understand that staying in touch or keeping in touch, it refers to the act. It's that act of, for example, shooting a text, sending a message when you're not meeting the person, or
Mm-hmm.
sending a postcard, or writing an email, or even doing a video chat with someone and talking to them.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, very good. By the way,
Mhm.
I think we have a chat. Someone when we be face to face. Yes, when we are face to face, that's called breaking the ice for the first time. And then after we move from face to face, and then we would like to um stay in touch. For example, okay, you went, you broke the ice, and now the other person is really interested in being part of your zone or part of your friends. Now comes keeping in touch, and that is to constantly check on your friends. how are you doing today? Tell me more about you, and so on. These are all part of keeping in touch. Do you understand better now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And as you can see here, guys, we have some of these ways to do these things. So, for example, sending postcards, not a lot of people do this anymore, but they still are a big part of communicating. There's also sending text messages either through WhatsApp or any social media in general, writing letters, writing emails, using video conferencing software. WhatsApp itself is a video conferencing software that would allow you to video chat with this other person. So, for example, if you can see, guys, these ones, if I had to ask you, how did people communicate 200 years ago, for example? Do you know?
Using letters.
Using letters. Okay, very good. And
Postcards.
postcards, very good. And Hisham, what do you think as well?
I see a letter.
Letters, very good. And then after
Yes.
200 years ago, as we're getting closer to today, let's say about 50 years ago, just 50. Okay? What did they use to communicate?
Phone call.
50 years ago? Okay, maybe. Okay.
Telegram.
Telegraphs or telegrams, very good. Okay, that's very good. So if I had to ask you guys, teenagers, do you know about teenagers?
Yes.
Okay, so teenagers are people that are aged, that their age is from 10 to 19. So your kids, if they are from 10 to 19, they're called teenagers. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. And teenagers typically communicate differently from people that are not teenagers. So people in their 20s communicate differently, people in their 30s communicate differently, and so on. How do you guys think people in their teenage years or teenagers, how do they communicate?
How they communicate now?
Yes, how do they communicate right now?
With new application.
New apps, very good. Any other comments, guys? How about very that are advancing? So for example, our grandparents, grandmothers or grandfathers, how do they communicate? Do they use apps?
No,
Yes.
just call phone.
They
Yeah.
use the
Just
phone.
use, yeah, they use phones, but not new generation. They use what they can deal with.
Exactly. And there's a big
Mm.
difference between phones and smartphones.
Mhm.
Usually, old people only are able to handle phones or telephones. Very good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Miriam. Now we will move on. And Sarah, by the way, thank you so much for sharing as well. Now we will move on to a listening activity. We will listen very carefully. Then we will have a couple of questions, and then we will try to answer them. So we'll be listening to Claire. Claire is the person speaking. She talks about 4 ways of communicating. My questions to you are, which 4 ways of communication does Claire mention, and what does she feel sad about? Okay? So if you guys are ready, I will play it. In
Okay.
3, 2.
One way of communicating which is in danger of disappearing is sending postcards. When I was younger, I traveled a lot. This was in the days before email, and making international phone calls was really expensive. So I wrote letters and sent postcards. Sending postcards was a particularly good way to keep in touch. You could share a picture of the place you were visiting with your family and friends. These days, I'm sad to say that postcards are becoming quite hard to find.
Very good, guys. So she spoke about a couple of ways, or 4 ways specifically, to communicate. And then she mentioned that she's sad about something. Of course, I feel like we must listen to her once more. And the main reason for that is that Claire in here, she sounds the closest that we can have someone to be or having zero influence within other languages. She sounds perfectly American. And I would like us to listen to her once more, and then we will answer the questions. Of course, before we do that, I will admit Ilham. Let me see. Yes, Ilham is joining in. All right, so we will listen again, guys. 3, 2.
One way of communicating which is in danger of disappearing is sending postcards. When I was younger, I traveled a lot. This was in the days before email, and making international phone calls was really expensive. So I wrote letters and sent postcards. Sending postcards was a particularly good way to keep in touch. You could share a picture of the place you were visiting with your family and friends. These days, I'm sad to say that postcards are becoming quite hard to find.
Very good, guys. So who in here can tell me what are the 4 ways of communication that Claire mentions?
Postcards.
Postcards.
Okay, very good, Sarah. By the way, Sarah, what we do here, we try our best to, because, when I share the screen, I can't see all of your names. So it would be very good if you could raise your hand every single time that you would like to give us your opinion. That way I can see your name and then I can remember who is communicating the most. Okay, Sarah?
Okay.
Very good. Thank you so much. All right. So Sarah mentioned postcards, and then can I have Abdelim telling me another one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Emails.
Postcards, emails. Very good. Iman, do you have another one?
Letter.
Letters. Very good. And then Hisham?
International call.
International calls. Very good. So, okay, so she mentioned international calls. She mentioned letters. She mentioned postcards. She also mentioned another one. You guys remember?
Yes.
Maybe Iman?
Traveling. She have
Mm-hmm.
she has keeping touch with traveling. She travel a lot.
Very good.
She travels a lot.
Very good, Iman. But when we say keeping in touch, we generally refer to our environment or people or friends that we make along the way. So you travel and then you meet new people and then you keep in, sorry, excuse me, guys. You keep in touch with these new people, okay? Did you hear me, Iman?
Yes, it's okay.
Very good. So what she mentioned and the focus was on letters, postcards, emails, and phone calls or international calls. Very good, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. She also said and mentioned that she was sad that something became difficult. Do you guys remember what it was? Maybe. Okay, I have. Very good. Very good. Can I have Karima, maybe?
Are you?
Hello, Ilham. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Good to hear. Did you hear with us the audio, Ilham, or not yet?
Not yet.
No worries. Okay, I'll ask you for the next one. Let me
Okay.
have maybe Miriam. Miriam, what does she feel sad about?
Okay, so she feels so sad because people use more or less postcards, and she think that postcards are a special way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and to communicate and to share pictures. Yeah.
Very good. No, very good, Miriam. That was a very good
Okay.
answer. She's sad that it has become difficult to find postcards themselves because they are very special or a very special way to share your travels and so on. Very good job,
Yeah.
Miriam. That was a very
And
good
just
answer.
I want to just
Yes.
share information about postcards.
Mhm.
A lot of people now keep
Mhm.
using postcards. For example, for Thanksgiving, for example, a lot of people send their photos in family to their friends, and they put these photos on the refrigerator, for example.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Miriam, 100%. But by the way, these right now, it became more of a commodity. Okay? Let me write this word for you guys. Commodity. Became more of a commodity. Before, it was the main thing that was used for communication, which means now it has lost its value.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And that's why she's really sad about this. Thank you so
Okay.
much, Miriam, for sharing that information as well. Very
Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you so much. Iman, would you like to share something else?
She used Claire. She used quite hard find.
Could you try to explain more, Iman? She used quite hard.
Yeah, she used adjective, I think, to explain how it's hard to find a postcard.
Ah, yes, very good. She says it's quite hard to find. Very good, very good. Quite hard to find typically means that it's really, really, really hard to find. Okay, Iman?
Okay.
Very good, and thank you so much for sharing. Do you all have any questions so far, or all good, guys?
No, that's clear.
Very good, guys. That's good to hear. All right, Sisham also agrees. All right. So now we will try, and I love how Iman has mentioned earlier that there was a focus on adjectives. Okay? So adjectives are extremely important. You know, you could say a very basic sentence, Wasim ate an apple, and then you can add a lot of adjectives to it, and it becomes really complex. So adjectives are extremely important because they give texture and value to the way you're talking. And if you learn adjectives properly, it's definitely going to help you communicate better. So right now, we'll be trying to make adjectives stronger. Claire uses the adjectives expensive, good, and hard. Listen for the words she uses before these adjectives. We have especially, so, really, very, quite, particularly. Which words does Claire use to make the adjectives stronger? Okay, so we will listen once more. It's the same text, by the way. And then we will try to fill in the blanks, guys.
Okay.
Very good. So 3, 2.
One way of communicating which is in danger of disappearing is sending postcards. When I was younger, I traveled a lot. This was in the days before email, and making international phone calls was really expensive. So I wrote letters and sent postcards. Sending postcards was a particularly good way to keep in touch. You could share a picture of the place you were visiting with your family and friends. These days, I'm sad to say that postcards are becoming quite hard to find.
So as I was saying, there are some adjectives that we use that make things a bit stronger, or to make the words themselves a little stronger. Very good. Sarah has already answered. Let me see. Let me make sure. Very good, Sarah. Very good. So who wants to do the first one? Can I have someone to read until here? Iman, would you like to go for the first one?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
One way of communicating which is in danger of disappearing is sending postcards. When I was younger, I traveled a lot. This was in the days before email, and making international phone calls was really expensive.
Very good. Good job. All right. Let me have now Sarah. Could you do the second one?
You listen.
Yes, I can hear you.
So I wrote letters and sent postcards. Sending postcards was a particularly good way to keep in touch. You
Very
could
good.
chat. Yes,
Could you just say it one more time, Sarah? Particularly.
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 Very good. Just try to make the R sound. Particularly.
Particularly.
Yes, but try to make the R sound. Let me write it to you, Sarah. So it's par,
Par.
T,
T.
Q,
Q.
lar,
Lar.
li.
Li.
The lar sound, you should also make it.
Okay. Particularly.
Very good. Particularly. I wrote it for you the same way I say it, okay? Particularly.
Particularly.
Very good. That was beautiful, Sarah. Okay, you can keep going.
A good way to keep in touch. You could share a picture of the place you were visiting with your family and friends.
Very good, Sarah. Thank you so much. All right. And Seb Lalim, could you do the last one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These days, I'm sad to say that postcards are become quite hard to find.
Very good. Quite hard to find. Very good, guys. Very beautiful. I love how you're able to listen and spot the specific words. Good job, guys. And by the way, this is where I would like to introduce intensifiers. To intensify, by the way, it particularly means to make stronger or sharper. So, for example, in English, we use these words called intensifiers to make other words stronger. For example, let's say A, they added special effects to intensify the scenes in a movie. So it makes it more intense, makes it stronger, it makes it better. The violin or the violins intensified the sadness of the music. It made it more sad. She added chili to intensify the flavor of the food. You guys understand now what is to intensify?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good job, guys. So these are some examples of intensifiers, guys. Here are some sentences containing intensifiers. Would you like to tell me, guys, which word is the intensifier? Maybe let me start with Miriam. Miriam, would you like to go for the first one?
Okay. So he is a very good football player. So the adjective, the intensifier is very.
Very good. Exactly. Good job. So
Thank you.
very is the intensifier and good is the adjective. Okay?
Mhm.
Okay, all right. Good job. Can I have also Iman doing the second one?
He is so talented. The intensifiers is so.
And where is the adjective?
Talented.
Talented. Very good. Good job, Im. All right. Seb Lalim, could you do the third one?
Yeah. The pizza was really delicious. The word intensifier is really.
Good job. All right. And the adjective is?
Delicious.
Delicious. Good job, Seb Lalim. All right. And Si Hisham, could you do the fourth one?
The special effects were particularly good.
Good job. Could you just say one more time the word particularly, Si Hisham?
Particularly.
Okay, good job. All right.
The special effects were particularly good. The intensifier is particularly, and the adjective is good.
Good job, Si Hisham. All right, great. And then let me have Ilham for the fifth one.
Okay, they are very tired. The adjective is tired, and the intensifier is very.
Good job. Could you just say one more time, intensifier?
Intensifier.
Very good job. Good job, Ilham. All right. And then who can do this one, number 6? Who did not speak yet? Karima? Or
Yes.
Yes, Karima, would you like to do this one? Alan is quite happy at the moment.
Yes, the happy is adjective.
And where is the intensifier?
It's at the moment is quiet. At the moment,
It's
quiet.
Quite is the intensifier. The intensifier, it usually comes before the adjective, okay?
Okay.
Very good. So you have happy, quite.
Quite.
See, we saw tired, very. Good, particularly, and so on. All good?
Yes.
Very good. Okay. And then let me have Sarah for number 7.
The exam was pretty hard. Pretty is the intensifier, and the hard is the adjective.
Very good. But could you say pretty one more time?
Pretty.
Pretty. Very good. Good job. All right. And then who wants to do the last one? Maybe Ilham?
Okay. Begin is very large city. Very is the intensifier, and large is the adjective.
Good job. Just bear in mind it's intensifier, not intensifier, okay?
Intensifier.
Intensifier. Very good. Good job, Ilham. All right, so you guys kind of have a basic understanding of what intensifiers are. That's a good thing. And then how typically they are placed. You have the adjective, they become or they come before it. Very good. Now we will talk about Hamza. Claire likes to send postcards. How does Hamza like to communicate? Which 3? First of all, let's read this and then I'll ask you guys a question. Who wants to read? Sarah?
Yes. There is so much new technology these days that sometimes I feel as if I am getting left behind. I love video calls, talk to my son and his family live in New Zealand, so the chance to actually see them all as well as talk to them is very good. It's a really great way to keep in touch.
Very good. Thank you so much, Sarah.